Hey, Ben. I've been waiting for a long time. I've kind of pondered
for this moment.
Yeah. I've kind of pondered how to ask this, but how does your view of transgender issues work when scientific anti-realism as a concept exists?
You're going to have to explain that one.
All right. So scientific anti-realism is the concept that when you see me, you see, my skin, my hands, everything about me, but you do not see my cells. You do not see my atoms. You do not see the things that make up the things. They are just physical. So there is no really true way to prove, other than by hitting me, obviously, that I am right here, if it is only us two talking. So therefore, this would apply to any gendering things, including intersex, which can have an XX or XY chromosome and have androgen or estrogen insensitivity. So
I just need you to narrow this down. Is the argument that we don't understand the nature of things because we don't have microscopes, and therefore we can't determine sex?
I would like to narrow it down to we cannot fully identify a gender of a person right when we see them, so therefore I believe that it is not within my own individual liberty to gender that person. Here's my problem with that particular argument. The answer is that in 99.8%, 99.9% of cases, you absolutely can gender somebody based on looking at them. Like, really. If you're going to use intersex people as an example of not being able to do that, this does not obviate the biological duality of sex upon which all progeneration is based for all of human history and for all mammalian species. So intersex people do not invalidate the concept of sex as a generality. Intersex people are people who have a biological anomaly. And by the way, in most cases of intersex, those people still manifest as either a male or a female. So the idea that intersex exists does not invalidate the idea that there is a male and that there is a female, or that in nearly all cases, I can tell the difference between a male and a female. Again, I'm not saying, by the way, that if you can show me your chromosomal charts that you are actually not a male, when I say that you're a male, that I should stick with that biological objective standard. Like my perception of you, in other words, is subject to my correct enunciation of an objective standard. So the objective standard, here's the deal. For all of human history, there was an objective standard between male and female. It was, for nearly all of human history, out of partial ignorance and partially because this is usually true, it was out of simply looking at people's genitals and assessing them based on their outward appearance, right? Which is still true for nearly all human beings on planet Earth at all times. Okay. What was that? You can't really describe someone without secondary sex characteristics and gender them into something.
Well, I mean, you can based on primary sex characteristics if you can see their genitals. Doctors do this literally at birth all the time, right? So this is but your point is correct. If somebody was male dressed as a female and I misgendered them, and then they said, "Oh, look, I'm male," zip, right? Then I would say correct, and then correct. I would say, for all of human history, you were male. Now the standard is chromosomal. Right? It's the SRNY gene and all of this. There is some objective standard, in other words, by which we can determine sex. The problem I have with the transgender argument is that people are arguing that there is no objective standard, that no objective standard exists by which I can determine sex. And in fact, sex is completely subjective. I can determine my own gender based on no biology and, in fact, in abeyance of biology. I can have every single biological characteristic of a male, and if I say I am female, then I am female. This is anti-scientific nonsense.
If you've ever found yourself puzzled by the science of gender, you're not alone. Let's break it down. In a spirited exchange, a student challenges Ben Shapiro on transgender issues using the concept of scientific anti-realism. This philosophy suggests we can't completely grasp the true nature of things, including sex and gender. Shapiro responds by highlighting the biological duality of sex. He argues that in the vast majority of cases we can determine someone's sex based on observable traits. While acknowledging intersex conditions as real, he maintains these are rare exceptions and don't invalidate the male-female binary essential to human reproduction. So can science and philosophy find common ground? It's a question worth exploring. Stay curious, friends.